You've seen the headlines. Trump takes over D.C. police and sends National Guard. But while social media is screaming dictator, the truth and the law tells a different story. Let's get into it.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.
Peace and blessings, everybody. I'm Damon K. Jones, the publisher of Black Westchester Magazine. BlackWestchester.com is the news with the Black point of view. Now, we all seen the headlines. Trump takes over D.C. police and sends in the National Guard. But while social media is screaming dictator, the truth and the law tells another story. And it's one you need to understand if you want to separate political theater from political reality. This week, President Trump has invoked Section 740 of the 1973 District of Columbia Home Rule Act, a law that allows the president to take control of the Metropolitan Police during a declared emergency. Congress gave itself the exclusive authority over the Capitol in the Constitution. D.C. is not a state. We have to remember that. It is a federal district, and that's why Trump can do it here.
Rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it.
But in the 50 states, it's completely different, brothers and sisters. It's a completely different ball game. The 10th Amendment reserves police powers to the states. That means governors, not the president, control local law enforcement. To override that, the president would have to invoke the Insurrection Act, a drastic measure meant for open rebellion or when the state refuses to enforce the law. And even then, the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878 stands in the way. This law prohibits the U.S. Army and Air Force, and by policy, the Navy and Marines, from acting as a domestic police without specific congressional or constitutional authorization. National Guard troops can do policing when they are under state control. But once federalized, they are bound to the same restrictions unless the Insurrection Act is triggered. That's why, regardless of Trump's rhetoric, he just can't roll tanks and troops into any state to run their police department.
We're not a state. We don't control the D.C. National Guard. We don't have senators or full autonomy. Limited home rule gives the federal government the ability to intrude on our autonomy in many ways. I've said before, and I'll repeat, that I believe that the president's view of D.C. is shaped by his COVID-era experience during his first term. And it is true that those were more challenging times related to some issues. It is also true that we experienced a crime spike post-COVID, but we worked quickly to put laws in place and tactics that got violent offenders off our streets and gave our police officers more tools. We know, however, as most have heard from the president's press conference, that he has prerogatives in D.C. unlike anywhere else in the country, including his authority given by our home rule charter to require the mayor, to require me to supply services of the Metropolitan Police Department. And he also has control and the ability to deploy the National Guard. But let me be clear, as our home rule charter is also clear, and the president's executive order restates. Chief Pamela Smith is the chief of the Metropolitan Police Department, and its 3,100 members work under her direction. The Home Rule Charter requires the mayor to provide the services of MPD during special conditions of an emergency, and we will follow the law. Though there's a question about the subjectivity of that declaration. In fact, the chief has already provided a high-level liaison and point of contact with the federal government and made those initial contacts. The executive order is also clear that the president has delegated his authority to make requests of us to Attorney General Pam Bondi. I have reached out to Attorney General Bondi and hope to schedule a meeting soon.
Mayor Bowser points out that violent crime has dropped to a multi-decade low. She stands firmly on saying that there's no need for an emergency takeover. But Trump disagrees, framing it as a necessary law and order move. The politics are obvious, but the legal differences is key. What's possible in D.C. isn't possible in the states without extreme conditions. When laws and policies go too far in one direction, like bail reform, without any safeguards, the pushback is often just as drastic. And those sounding the alarms about overreach often ignore the communities dealing with the reality of offenders back on the street before their victims are even out of the hospital. The reality drives political momentum for actions like this. The bottom line in Washington, D.C., the rules are different. That's not an opinion. That's the law. And understanding those rules is the first step in knowing when powers are being used legally and when powers cross the line. And as I said earlier, brothers and sisters, I support bail reform, but I support bail reform with non-violent incidents. But too many times what we're seeing in black communities that are under bail reform, those who commit violent crimes are let out just as much as those that commit nonviolent crimes. And the black community is not able to breathe when the man that robbed grandma with a knife and threatened her or hit her upside the head to get her knife is out of jail before she's out of the hospital. So those who are supporting bail reform, and I support bail reform, but we need to look at who the bail reform addresses. It should be non-violent offenses. If someone's caught stealing crab legs, no, they should go home and come back to court. But if someone is robbing somebody physically, they should stay locked up. We can't use racism as an excuse for bad decisions to create crimes. And I think that's where we got it twisted with bail reform. And I'm a hard supporter of reforming the actual criminal justice system. But I'm also a realist. We have laws in our communities that we need to follow. Black people. So if they break the laws, that's a decision of their own. Racism is not an excuse. Many of us came up from single parent homes. A lot of us are not out there robbing, shooting, and killing and beating grandma up on the head. So this is a reality check on what Trump can do in D.C. And the rhetoric is he's going to take it in other cities, but legally he can't do it. But it's a reality check when it's welcomed in other cities, what we are failing to do when we go too far in certain reforms. And the only communities that suffer is the black and poor communities. And the people that make these laws don't even live in those communities. So this is Damon K. Jones. If you liked what you heard, please leave a comment. Please like. Let's talk about it. Do you think Trump is going to bring the troops in all the states? Let me know. Do you think he's going to find a legal loophole in these laws so he could do that? Let me know. Do you think he's just going to keep it in D.C.? Let me know. If you watching in D.C. or whatever community you in, has crime actually went down as these mayors say? Or is that political rhetoric, but the real people on the ground still feel threatened when they go outside? Let me know. And this is the Publisher's Desk, and I thank you again. And please support us. We got new T-shirts out. We got different books on Amazon. We're trying to give you independent black media that cares and that is God-centered. So as always, man, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay blacktastic. Peace.
Rep the movement. Get your official Black Westchester merch today. Hoodies, tees, and more at blackwestchestermerch.shop. Wear your voice, make a statement.
Tired of the same emotional politics that lead nowhere. Emotional Politics, Logical Failure by Damon K. Jones is the book Black America needs right now. It exposes the lies, challenges the gatekeepers, and calls for real strategy, not just symbolism. Power starts with truth. On sale, now, and available in audiobook on Amazon.
Tolerance is for Cowards by Damon K. Jones. This book is not anti-police, it's pro-community. Discover how the extended policing strategy empowers you to demand real public safety, justice, and accountability from your local police department. Because the Black community deserves good policing. On sale now on Amazon and Audible. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like and share it with others who need to hear the truth. And for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access, join the Black Westchester Magazine YouTube membership club today. Your support helps us keep independent Black media strong. Support independent Black media with style. Rock Black Westchester merch and represent the news with the Black point of view. Every purchase helps us speak truth to power.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.